Hey guys, it's Jetlag here, and this is how I got from silver to diamond. So, some of my tips you might already know, but I'm gonna try my best to give you some tips that you don't know and you haven't seen yet on YouTube. So let's get straight into it. So first of all, we have to go down with the basics before we go to the advanced stuff. And one of these basics are your sensitivity. So one way I found out on how to find your perfect sensitivity is you find a bot, or you can just shoot a dot at a wall. And you want to move left, right, and you try tracking this thing with your crosshair as much as you can. If you feel like you're overcompensating, or if your crosshair is going over the head, you should definitely turn down your sens. And if you feel like you're undercompensating like this, and if you fail to keep up with the head, you should definitely turn up your sens. So I use 1000 DPI and 0.322 in game. I tried a lot of senses, including 0.3, 0.1, 0.2, all the way up to even 0.38 back in the day. But I always see myself going back to 0.322, and I've never changed my sense ever since. And once you find your perfect sense, never change it, because your muscle memory has to build up over time. And yeah, stick with it. Okay, the next part is your crosshair. So this is heavily based on your preference. I use 1312 white, no outline. I like the 2 offset instead of the 1, because I feel like 1, the gap is too small and I can't really see the enemies fitting inside the crosshair. But when I switch to 2, the enemies' heads can fit easily into the crosshair, and I feel like headshotting is way easier on this. Spraying as well for me. And I chose white just because of preference. Back in CS, I always rock the white crosshair. And I feel like white on most colors looks great. And I feel like cyan, green, all these colors, they sometimes look weird on some surfaces. Like green on green, cyan on cyan, stuff like that. But white goes well with most colors, and that's why I use it. I tried a lot of other crosshairs as well, like this small one right here, Sub Rosa's infamous red crosshair, Ye's crosshair, and this small crosshair right here. I feel like some of these are too small, some of them are too thick, and this one right here is perfect for me. Just a small gap, the size isn't too big. I don't like outline because I feel like it gets in the way, and I can see my crosshair well enough anyway, so I don't really need an outline. And you could try it out if you want, you could try many crosshairs, but the point is, you try out crosshairs and you find out which one works best for you, which one makes you feel most comfortable and makes you win gunfights. Okay, the next part are your video settings. So first of all, the resolution. I like to play stretched just because of my preference. I always played 4x3 stretched back in CS. I recommend staying on native resolution. And yeah, I just play 4x3 stretched because of preference. My reflex low latency is on plus boost. And my graphics quality, most of them are on low. I keep UI on medium because it helps in the buy menu. You can see the background on medium, but on low you can barely see the background. And I just want to see the background anyway. And there's no FPS impact anyway, so I just keep it on medium. Vignette on off, VSync on off, this adds input lag. Anti-aliasing, none gives you the best FPS, but you see these lines over here. Yeah, it feels like they're, I don't know what's the term, but it looks like they're moving. On msaa, it removes that. There's a bit of an FPS hit, but I feel like those banding and those movements are a distraction in game. So I like to remove it anyway, with a substantial but not dramatic FPS hit. Anisotropic filtering, I just keep it on 1x. All of these on off, because all of them, or most of them, have a big FPS impact without any competitive advantage, really. And yeah, those are my video settings. Almost forgot to mention about your enemy highlight color, so this is completely preference. Most people rock the yellow Protonopia, because this makes the players bright and you can see them easily. I rock this for most of my time, but recently I switched to purple and I feel like it's just better for me, because I can still see the enemies. You know, they're not as bright as yellow, but I can still see the enemies. My problem with yellow was that most players rock a bright crosshair, and I feel like a bright crosshair on top of a bright enemy outline kind of looks too much, and it might be fatiguing on the eye sometimes. And I feel like purple which is a bit darker, yes, but I can still see the enemies clearly. I feel like this looks way better for me, a bright crosshair on top of a not so bright color. I feel like you should try switching and see what's best for you. I used to play yellow all the time, many people do. I tried purple and I think it feels great, so yeah, I suggest trying out everyone. Okay, now we can dive into more advanced stuff. So the first tip that I could give is to loosen your hand and to stay calm while you're aiming. So for the most part of my Valorant playing time, I used to always have a tense hand, and I feel like my aim was fast, yes, but sometimes it was shaky. And I feel like most of this was because my hand was very tense and I was gripping my mouse too much. Recently, I tried loosening my hand while playing, and I always reminded myself to stay calm. And I feel like this is what got me from platinum to diamond. So this is what my aim looks like when I'm, you know, twitchy and I'm gripping my hand very hard on the mouse. So yes, very fast, but sometimes I could whiff. My hands would get tired over time, and this would be obvious in the game as I do not perform as well in the second half. And ever since I tried loosening my hand, you know, smooth aim, calm aim, I felt like it was easier to kill enemies and it took less time. And I started headshotting more, and this was less fatiguing over time, obviously. And I feel like this is what got me from platinum to diamond. So I suggest when you're playing, and to stay calm in your gunfights, aim for the head, keep your aim as smooth, and try not to flick as much, because all you really need is good crosshair placement. And if your enemy is right there in your crosshair, you just have to shoot, that's it. You don't have to flick too much, you know, just... If you have good enough crosshair placement, you just need to move your mouse a little bit, you know. And with flicking, you might miss. And with smooth aim, you're most of the time gonna win your gunfights. Okay, my next tip is related to peeking and swinging. So one thing, or one bad habit I noticed back when I was in gold or plat, was that I would swing so wide and my movement would be so slow. It would look like this. Like right, left, right, left, right, left. I realized this while I was watching one of my recordings. And I tried to tell myself to only make small movements, you know, counter strafe, left, right, left, right, left, right. I feel like I always wide swung. And I feel like this took way more time to kill the enemy. Because when I wide swing, it took that much time. Then I have to aim. But if I just, you know, shoulder peek, you know, just move a little, then I can immediately kill the enemy. And sometimes they would kill me first. Actually, most of the time they would kill me first. But when I started, you know, jiggling a corner, let me show you. And this over here, it will look like this. Like I always did this, you know, wide swing, then shoot. I started doing this, jiggling, small movements, you know. With this, you can immediately kill an enemy, you know, you see him, bam, dead. Small movements, you see an enemy, dead. So I recommend checking your movement. Try not to wide swing all the time, you know, you can always jiggle a corner. Keep your movement small, so you can kill the enemy faster, and you can, you know, win your gunfights. It's that simple. My next tip is related to teamwork and communication. So one thing I noticed from gold to plat to diamond was that lower rank players, they never talk. I mean, some people in diamond don't talk, but I noticed that as I climbed up the ladder, a lot more people were calming, you know, they were talking to their teammates, and they were giving out so much information. You know, whenever you die, you don't just shut up and stay dead. You say where the enemy is, how much HP, or how much damage you did to them. Any other information like utility that the enemy used, or if there's a gun on the floor, or where the spike is, or if you see multiple enemies. Sometimes when you die, you don't just see the enemy who killed you. You could actually see multiple enemies, in case you didn't know. You give as much information as you can immediately, then shut up. It's that simple. And I feel like this simple thing makes gunfights easier, especially on attacker side. I feel like this makes your game easier if you just communicate, use your teammates' utility, coordinate your utility usage, and coordinate your push, because dying alone is probably the worst thing ever. Okay, my next tip is related to your monitor. So two main things is the distance and the brightness. So back when I was in silver and gold, I always used to play really far from my monitor. And as I climbed up the ladder, I tried playing a bit closer to the monitor, and I feel like this helped me with micro adjustments way more. Though there is a limit, you shouldn't be super close to your monitor, as your eyes could have some trouble in focusing, and sometimes it could be tiring actually. So I try to stay within like 1 foot from the monitor, maybe a bit closer, I'm not sure. But yeah, my tip is to try to go as close as you can to your monitor without it being too fatiguing to your eyes. And once you find the perfect distance, stick with it and never change it. And in regards to the brightness, I noticed that I was playing like with a brightness that was way too high. And I tried turning it down, and this helped my eyes on focusing on the enemy. And this was way less tiring on my eyes. And this helped me in playing long hours. Okay, my next tip is related to your chair and your arm position. So this is really simple, but I suggest trying different heights of your chair, or find which makes you most comfortable. Try to put it at a height where your arm is resting on your table comfortably and it doesn't feel tiring or is like straining your hand or straining your aim. And yeah, try to find the height of your chair that makes you feel most comfortable. Same thing with the arm. Make sure that your arm is laying flat on your desk. You don't want it too high or too low, because this will obviously affect your aim. And yeah, try to find which position of your arm gives you the best aim. Some people like only like a little bit of their arm on the table. Some like their whole arm on the table. Try to find which fits you perfect. And stick with this, as this will honestly affect your aim a lot. Because I always have like half of my arm on the table. I tried the entire arm on the table and it was less fatiguing, but it affected my aim like in a significant way, and I couldn't let that happen. Okay, my second to the last tip is in regards to my warm-up. So just to let you guys know, I don't practice my aim, I don't do aim labs, I don't do deathmatch, although I should probably. And I don't spend like 30 minutes, 1 hour of training in the range or whatever. I just hop into the range. Before my first game, I spawn bots, so you hit practice. And the first thing I do is I get an operator and I try flicking to enemies. I try loosening my hand, you know, big flicks. Not too fast, you know, just to wake up your hand. You know, let that hand loose, let the blood flow. Left, right, keep it moving. Left, just keep doing that for, I don't know, 30 seconds, 1 minute, not too much. I mean, that's what I do, but you could do how long as you want. Then after that, after my hand is loose, I grab a deagle or a sheriff and I try headshotting. You don't have to do it really fast. You just have to make sure that you get the headshot. I do this for 1 minute, maybe 2. I have no idea honestly, but my rule of thumb is that I don't do it, or I do it until my hand gets tired or I sense some sort of fatigue. And once that kicks in, you know, I think that's enough for me. My next warm-up is to do the same, but with Vandal. I mean, I spray sometimes. You know, I may do it faster. And yeah, that's the third part, 1 or 2 minutes. This final part of my warm-up is the most important, I feel like. So what I do is I don't shoot the enemies. I just keep tracking them with my crosshair. Keep tracking them, move left, right. Keep tracking them. With your crosshair, you know, keep your aim smooth. Don't shoot the enemy. Just try to keep your crosshair on the enemy's head. This practices your tracking aim. And I feel like most people, they keep practicing their flicks, you know, fast flicks. And they don't train their tracking aim. And I feel like most of your gunfights, you don't have to flick, you know? You could just have good crosshair placement and you only have to make a small adjustment to flick to your enemy. So this is what I do probably the most. You know, 2 to 5 minutes maybe. Just track your enemies. Then switch, keep switching. Then after I do that, you know, I do small movements. Left, right. Then I keep switching again. But yeah, that was the most important part of my warm-up, and I spent most of my time in my warm-up doing that. And I noticed that after I started doing that, I started winning most of my gunfights, as I didn't need to flick much and my hand wasn't, you know, shaky. It was calm and smooth, and all I needed to do was track the enemy or track the corner, then just had to make a small adjustment to flick to the enemy. Practice your tracking aim and keep your aim smooth, and don't rely on your flicks too much. That's it. Okay, my last tip for you guys, it might sound a bit cliche. I know this is a video about uncommon tips and secrets to get better at Valorant, but I feel like this is very important, is to have a positive mentality and to always try to stay calm and believe in a comeback. I've had many games that, you know, I was what, 9-3? I was 3, we were down by 6 rounds, but you know, we had an amazing comeback. And I feel like comebacks could always happen. And I feel like the main things that you have to tell yourself while you're playing is to 1, stay calm, 2, fight with your teammates, don't play selfish, and 3 is that it's just a game. I started in Diamond 1. That's the time I started really focusing on the game and I started taking games seriously, and I was really hard stuck, honestly. And as I climbed up to Diamond 3, I just try to have fun. I just try to stay calm, and I did realize that as much as I had fun and staying calm, I won more of my games. And I feel like if you're way too tense, or you're way too focused, or you're way too, you know, sweaty, I feel like this could take an impact on your aim, and it might be tiring if you're always tense and sweaty in game. And if you try to stay calm and if you try to have fun, this could actually be better for you, your aim, and your overall game. Honestly, if you notice that you're trying way too hard in your games, just, you know, relax and have some fun. That's it. Okay, to summarize this entire video, the first tip was related to your sensitivity. Try tracking something, like an enemy or a bot, with your aim, and adjust your sense accordingly. The next tip was to try many different crosshairs, but don't go for something too big or too thick or where the gap is too small, and to stick with this crosshair. Next is video settings. I have everything on low. I have anti-aliasing on because I feel like jagged edges might be distracting in game, but it's up to you, and if you want more FPS, keep it off. But if you want to remove the jagged edges, keep it on. Next is player outline. Many people use yellow outline. I switched to purple because I feel like bright crosshairs on top of not so bright player models look way better, and I feel like this helped me in gunfights. Next is to loosen your hand and to stay calm in your gunfights. Next is related to peeking and swinging. Don't wide swing all the time. Try to keep your movement small so you can kill the enemies faster. Next is related to your communication and teamwork. Remember to communicate, coordinate your utility usage, and coordinate your executes and pushes. Next is related to your monitor. Try to get close to your monitor so it's easier to micro adjust, but not too close where it becomes too fatiguing to your eye. And also turn down the brightness if it's too bright, as your eyes might have difficulty in focusing if it's too bright. Next is your chair and arm position. Try to find a comfortable chair height and arm position, and try to always keep this whenever you play. Next is my warm-up. First, I grab the operator and I flick to loosen up my hand. Then do 1 taps with the sheriff. Then taps or bursts with the vandal. Then the final step in my warm-up is to practice my tracking aim. Just track an enemy with my aim. I don't have to shoot. Just keep tracking your enemy. And yeah, this is to practice your tracking aim. And finally is the mentality. If you notice that you're trying too hard or you're way too tense while you're playing, just stay calm and focus on your gunfights and have fun. And yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. You can go follow my Twitch. It's in the description, twitch.tv/jetlagtv. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.